is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studio. This is The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm Christy Wright, and joining me today is my good friend, George Camel. Welcome to the show, George.
Christy, this is so fun. This is my first time co-hosting with you and anyone but Dave.
Which I consider this a big honor.
It's a blessing.
I'm so excited. George and I are taking your calls about money, as always. About time management, because y'all know I'm on a kick about that right now with my new book, Take Back Your Time. But we're here for you. So maybe you have a question about business, leadership, or just need some advice in what decision to make. Really, in any area of your life, we're here for you. Give us a call, 888-825-5225. George and I are hosting together all day today. And George, this is your first time hosting with me on Fun Friday.
What do I need to know?
Here's what's great. Friday's just a little bit more casual. Everybody's excited about the weekend. Everybody's excited about their fun plans. So maybe you want to talk about that. I don't know. I don't know what you want to talk about.
Personally. I don't know if anyone else cares about my plans, but this is big news for me as a millennial.
Okay, let's have
Trader Joe's just opened 15 minutes north of our headquarters.
Okay.
And that is a big deal for me and my family, Christy.
Well, I'm so happy that we can announce that. That is fantastic.
This is big news.
I'm excited for you. Excited for you.
Some people are cheering in the lobby. This is great. What about you?
I am actually going to be a bridesmaid in one of my very best friend's wedding this weekend. Wow. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. We kick it off this evening as soon as I leave here this afternoon. Actually, we're going to the rehearsal dinner and all that good stuff. So if you want to give us a call, 888-825-5225. George and I are here to answer your calls. George, I want to kick it off while we're waiting for the calls to come in. And I want you to talk about, because I've heard the announcements in our staff meeting. I'm sure you've talked about it on the Ramsey Show. But I want to hear from you directly about your new show, The Fine Print. And I've heard you talk a little bit kind of in some meetings about the one of your hearts to help people, especially in the area of money. I've heard you say, I don't just want to put the cookies on the bottom shelf. I want to put them on the floor. I want to help people understand everything they need to know in really simple terms. And I'll tell you, George, personally, right now, I am in seminary and I'm reading these textbooks where I don't understand 9 out of 10 words in a sentence. I have to look them up. I appreciate someone that has the heart of a teacher to speak human language that someone can understand. And the finance industry is one of those where it can be intimidating. It can be overwhelming. There are lots of big words. There's lots of legal fine print. And you are going right into this space to give hope to people and help them understand what's going on. Talk a little bit about your heart behind it, because I'm so excited to see this for you.
Yes, you nailed it, Christy. And the reason I'm so excited about this is exactly what you're talking about. There's so much noise out there. Mm-hmm. There's social media and the headlines and your broke brother-in-law. And my dad said to get the FHA loan because the housing market's hot. And there's just so many voices in your head. And you can get so overwhelmed, which you talk about this all the time, that you're just paralyzed by all the indecision and you do nothing.
Yeah, you don't know who to trust. Or you do the
wrong thing. Exactly. There's so much noise out there. I mean, I'm consuming a lot of TikTok these days. And let me tell you, everyone is an expert on TikTok, and there's 16-year-olds telling you to buy into this cryptocurrency over here. And I'm going, oh, dear Lord, someone help these people.
Yeah.
And then we go, oh, that's what we get to do every single day. And so what this podcast is attempting to do is really show people the hidden truths that are keeping them broke. And we want to do that in a fun, narrative, storytelling way, in a way that we've never really done it before at Ramsey. So this is short form, 30 minutes or less, and it's a crafted podcast. This is really made for people who love podcasts, right? The podcast nerds out there. And so we're talking to experts. We're hearing from real-life people. We're hearing from Ramsey personalities. And we're really digging in with facts and research and stats and empathy and humor to help people change their paradigms.
Yeah.
To then change their decisions, to change their habits, because we know that when you do that, you can change your life.
Yeah. Well, I love hearing you talk about this because it's so needed. And it's one of those things that I think that people do not understand, that the vast majority of people out there, the vast majority of companies out there that are giving financial advice have an agenda, right? If you're learning how to manage your money from the credit card companies, they have an agenda. They're not looking out for your best interest. They're looking out for their bottom line in the big buildings that they're coming up with these marketing strategies in. And so, I remember back in the day when I would, teach on money and travel and speak on money with Rachel Cruz, and we would travel and speak to college students, and I would just tell them, listen, these credit card companies are not trying to help you out of the goodness of their sweet little hearts. They have an agenda. And so many, even tax filing companies often, even insurance companies, there's a lot, the vast majority really of these companies have an agenda that is going to affect them making money off of your financial decisions. And if we don't realize that, then we're going to think, oh, well, gosh, they're here to help me, so I need to get this credit card because they really want to help me out. No, they don't. No, they don't. They don't want to help you out. They want to make money off of the interest that you're going to accrue from your spending. And so what's so great about you, George, and all of us here at Ramsey Solutions is that you don't have an agenda other than to help them. You're not making money off of them getting credit cards or getting a certain insurance. We are in the business of helping you. We are in the business of seeing you win. When you guys call us and you tell us you're debt-free, that is how we win. That is success to us. And so I just love that you're going into this space. You've got some podcast episodes that are out now. I love this one. The first two here out now. How TurboTax is screwing you. Prime example. Yeah. Prime example of what I was just talking about. And the true cost of credit card rewards. Another great example.
That's a huge one, Christy.
Of what I'm talking about.
People just love those rewards, don't they?
They really do. It's gamified, and we just get sucked into the game. Like, ooh, but I could get a pair of jeans. I could get $200 cash back if I spend $30,000. People, let's do some basic third grade math.
It's hard,
That's
Christy.
Not good.
Common Core, okay? It's very difficult these days.
It really is. I hear all about that. Listen, you guys, listen to The Fine Print with George Camel wherever you listen to podcasts. This is going to help you see what's going on behind the scenes that is affecting your financial decisions. And it's really those things, like George said, that are keeping you broke. We don't want you to be broke. We want you to build wealth. We want you to be debt-free. We want you to have control of your money. Everything we teach you and every answer we give you is for you to have more money, more control, more power, more options, and a better future. That is the driving force behind every one of our principles, every one of our baby steps, every one of our books, every single thing that we do is for you to win. That's the why. And I just love how you're doing this, George. I love how you're doing this on The Fine Print and everything that you're doing. You guys give us a call, 888-825-5225. We'll be taking your calls. George and I are here for you on Fun Friday. All right, George, give us, before we go to break, give us a teaser of what is something we need to know about one of these first two episodes, the TurboTax is screwing you and the true cost of credit cards rewards. Give us a teaser of what's included in that episode.
I'll give you the hook. So the first one on TurboTax, I talked to Dave, and we go through this 200-page keynote that they had for their shareholders, who they are obligated to. Guess what? Not to the user, not to the customer, but to their shareholders. So we unpack how they're actually coming to get you with debt later on. And credit card rewards, of course, we know, Christy, you're not going to get to wealth by using that credit card and swiping away. So we unpack so many facts. I talked to an ex-Capital One insider who really breaks down how they're getting you. So go subscribe to The Fine Print. Listen to the first 3 episodes. It's a good time.
Man, just the information can set you free. You don't even realize how that is holding you back, and George is going to show you. The Fine Print wherever you listen to podcasts. This is The Ramsey Show.
What makes our show unique is that we genuinely care about our listeners. We're intentional about choosing the best advertisers to recommend. Blinds.com is no exception. They offer high-quality window treatments at unbelievable prices, and they make it simple to shop blinds, shades, and interior shutters with easy online ordering, free shipping, and a guaranteed perfect fit. Go to Blinds.com and take advantage of this week's special savings.
Joining me today is my good friend, George Camel, and we are taking your calls about money, life, business, time management, you name it. We're here for you. 888-825-5225. If you try to call during the week and you have trouble getting in, Fridays are good because sometimes people are a little distracted, George. It's fun
true.
Friday. They're getting ready for the weekend. But hey, we're here for you. We're ready to answer your questions. Give us a call, 888-825-5225. We're going to go to Cliff in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hey, Cliff, how are you?
I'm good. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Cliff. What's going on? How can George and I help?
Well, I had a question regarding the envelope system.
Okay.
Instead of using a physical envelope and putting cash into it, is it okay to use a reloadable gift card that you put money onto and use that as the envelope?
Well, this is an interesting question, Cliff. I've actually never heard this asked, but I first want to ask you why you want to. I'm just curious.
Well, so our local marching band, one of their fundraisers is using as a gift card program. So I can purchase gift cards and get reloadable gift cards, and each time I put money on it, the band earns money to pay off band fees. So I actually paid off my son's band fees just by purchasing gas and groceries with gift cards.
Interesting. Well, let me tell you some information about gift cards, and then I'm going to let George jump in on this one, okay? Because this is interesting. This is a little different, a little weird, which is why I like it, Cliff.
We like weird, especially on Fridays.
I like weird questions. I do. Okay, first thing you need to know. When you use a card, credit card, debit card, gift card, any kind of card, your brain does not register that as any type of significant pain, sacrifice, loss. Okay, research shows this. When you use cash and you actually hand over dollar bills, your brain, research shows that through MRI imaging, your brain registers that as physical pain. We want you to feel a little pain when you let go of your money because we want you to know that it's happening. It's the exact opposite effect of when you, I was teaching Dave about this a couple weeks ago, George and Cliff, about add to cart. Sometimes you just add things to cart because it feels good. You don't really feel the pain of that. When you hit submit order, or you swipe a card, you don't feel it, which becomes a problem in spending because you spend more than you realize. So that's one thing you need to know about swiping a card. You're not going to feel that transaction as much emotionally as we want you to, and you might be tempted to spend more. The second thing you need to know about gift cards is 50% of them are never used. 50% of gift cards are never cashed in. So companies love selling gift cards because they have a massive profit margin on them. People lose them. And you've probably done it, Cliff. I've done it. I'm guilty of it. I've got gift cards in my desk at home right now that I haven't used. So I camp our answer in that information. And this is kind of like what we were talking about earlier, George, where we were talking about you're not going to get rich off credit card points. Oh, cash back. We're not in this to play the game, Cliff. So what I would recommend, here's what I would recommend. With that in mind about we spend more when we swipe a card, we don't use gift cards and we lose them and we forget their actual real money with a value. What I would recommend you do, if I were you, is I would stick to the plan, stick to the baby steps, stick to the cash envelope system. And then if you just want to give out of your tithe, out of your giving, because you just want to bless your son's school out of your giving to be able to pay for their band things, then do that. Then it's all kept separate. It's all clean, and it's going to keep you on track. 'Cause I'm just afraid that that's going to become a slippery slope where you're swiping right and left, you're losing cards, having trouble keeping up with your budget, and I don't want you to get caught up in that. George, what would you say to that?
Yeah, I love that mentality, and I'm assuming these are like reloadable debit cards.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact parameters of this, but like you're saying, Christy, there's this element of if you want to help out, pay down the band fees, you can do that with real money too. And you don't have to hope that your, $5 out of 100 went to the band. I would just budget for this as a giving item.
Yeah.
Right? And just go, hey, what if I could give $20 a month to help them pay this down because it's something I'm passionate about. So Cliff, I love your heart behind this. I want to call that out. That's so cool that you want to be generous. I just think logically there's a better way to be generous than by using the gift cards.
Yeah.
So, you can use a debit card, you can do the cash envelope system. Whatever you're going to do is going to be best for you. So choose the one that's actually going to work, that you stick to, and then make this a part of your giving as part of a line item so that you can help the band out.
Let's talk about this, though, really quickly, George, because I think this brings up an interesting point that's actually bigger than gift cards. And it kind of ties back to what we were saying at the beginning of the hour of this idea of credit card rewards. When we get distracted on our path to managing our money, on our path to building wealth, when we get distracted by the games being credit card rewards, gift cards, incentives, if you buy a pair of shoes, someone else gets a pair of shoes, all that's good and fine and well. But if we begin to make purchasing decisions based on it, for example, I'm going to buy some shoes because someone's going to get shoes, we can get really distracted by the game and lose sight of what our money is doing and who's actually in control. And I think the psychology of that is really fascinating because, Dave and I were hosting earlier this week, and you'll have people call sometimes and say, well, mathematically XYZ of the baby steps, and they've got some criticisms or some pushback. And the reality is that if we were doing math, we would have never got ourselves in debt in the first place. It's more about focus. It's more about momentum than it is about math. And so even if, yes, you could earn $2 free for your son's band in this example, Cliff, or credit card points, or get a pair of jeans, or get cash back, we're not doing it for the game. And the game actually will distract you from what you're trying to do, which is get out of debt and build wealth. And I know you see this, George, when you talk to people, because when you get questions, it's often these type of questions where they're asking about ancillary, I'll call them carrots. Like in email marketing, you give someone a carrot for their email address. It's kind of like they're holding out these carrots. Like, do you want this? Do you want this free pair of jeans? Do you want this? And when we get distracted by the carrots, when we get distracted by these, incentives, we lose track of what we're trying to do, and we can actually make bad decisions a little at a time and not realize it.
Oh, yeah. And when you're talking about, the school making this whole thing happen, of course they're going to say, hey, get gift cards, because then it makes it about you.
Right.
Instead of about, hey, we need money to pay down the band fees, right? And they're
Right.
holding out the offering. It feels a little bit different when it says, hey, buy some gift cards and you'll help us out at the same time.
Right.
And so it kind of makes you feel like, wow, I can help out, and I can kind of get what I want too, right?
Right.
Oh, I've done that before. When there's a buy one, get one, you go, well, I'm really getting it for a gift for a friend, but hey, I get something out of this too.
Right.
So this gamification is all over the place. We're seeing it with cryptocurrency. We're seeing it with credit card rewards. We're seeing it with everything out there, because there is a psychology to it where you say, Christy, but you don't understand, I can beat the game. And that's exactly what they want you to think, right?
Right.
Like, perfect. They're going to play this game for the rest of their life and think they're winning.
Right. And the interesting thing is, let's look at the fruit of that, because you are in debt, barely getting by on your bills, and they are in multi-billion-dollar buildings coming up with strategies.
Who is winning here?
Right. It's not y'all. We're not the ones winning when we're playing these games that they come up with. Here's a good tip, okay? If they came up with a game, it's because they're going to win it. They didn't come up with a game they're going to lose. They came up with a game that they're going to win. So if you're playing someone else's game, you're most likely going to be the one losing in that scenario, whether it's credit card rewards, airline miles, even gift cards. And it's not a bad thing, but like the principle here, Cliff, and for all of you, is keep it clean and separate. It doesn't mean we're saying, oh, don't support your son's band. Oh yeah, no, just give. When my son started school a couple weeks ago, and the teacher had like a wish list on Amazon. And so that was super fun. I knew what she needed. Here's all the things. I was able to go on Amazon, select some items, purchase them, and just bring them on the first day and be like, hey, we just want to donate these to the class. Fundraisers are not bad, y'all. They're not bad at all. But when they distract you from your financial goals and they lead you to spend more than you would normally spend, then that's where it becomes a problem. So because it can be a slippery slope, keep it clean and separate. Give and be generous. We always teach you guys to give and be generous. And you can do that whether it's through your school, through your church, whatever you want to do, but that's going to keep you focused on your financial goals. And then you've got a line item for giving, and you've got a line item for groceries, and you've got a line item for everything else. And it's going to keep you on track, which is what you need when you've got the whole world pulling at you, telling you to, buy this and do this. No. We're going to stay focused on the goal, get out of debt and build wealth. And the best way to do that is with the baby steps and the cash system. It's a great question, Cliff. Thank you for calling. This is The Ramsey Show. I'm Christy Wright. George Camel and I are hosting the Ramsey Show for you today, and we are taking your calls, 888-825-5225. So if you have a question, give us a call, 888-825-5225. And I'm so excited, George, because in the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage are Giovanni and Mariah. How are you guys?
Good,
Hi,
Christy.
we're
Hi,
great.
George.
Hey.
Hey, okay, guys, you are debt-free. Tell us the story. How much did you pay off?
We paid off just over $78,000
$78,000
in 11 months.
Oh, no joke. Okay, what's your range of income during that time?
Our total was $119,450.
Wow. All right, to the penny. Okay, where are you guys from?
We're from Wilmington, North Carolina.
Awesome. I love it. Okay, so what do you guys do for a living?
So I work in human resources at a optical fiber company.
Okay.
And I work for North Carolina State Highway Patrol.
Awesome. Cool. How long have you guys been married?
Just over 2 years.
Wow. Okay, so you got married a couple years ago. What happened 11 months ago?
So it all started, it was actually, we had just gotten back from our honeymoon in March of 2020. And it was when the whole student loan, was going zero interest with the COVID. And one night I was looking over my loan bill still. And he walked in and he was, like, oh, you've graduated since 2012. How much have you paid down? And I was like, I really don't know. I feel like it's grown. So it did grow, and it kind of forced us to really look at it. And right then and there, we were like, we're going to hit this out. We're going to do it. So.
Gotcha. What kind of, so was it just the student loan or was it other debt as well?
Yep. So it was my student loan was the majority of it. And then we had some credit card loans, which were also mine. And then we had a car loan, $27,000 a car loan, credit cards about $6,500.
Gotcha. Okay. So you realized your student loan was growing even though you were paying on it.
Yeah.
Wow. That must have been a moment where you're going, something has to change.
Yeah. It was pretty defeating, but it kind of was a pivotal moment for us.
Gotcha. So I'm curious, the way that you said that is interesting, Mariah. You said, he asked how much the loan was. Had you guys not really put your money together yet or communicated about money at this point?
Nope,
Not
not
yet.
really at that point, no.
Gotcha. Okay. So what was the light bulb moment? What did you guys decide to do?
Well, her cousin Haley,
Yep.
I guess, had mentioned Dave Ramsey to her.
In passing, pretty casual. I didn't really know a lot about him.
I knew nothing about him.
Yeah. You're like, we just need some help.
Yeah. I had talked to my buddy, and I know it's probably weird to talk to your friends about financial stuff, but he had mentioned that him and his wife had done Financial Peace University. They became debt-free, and kind of gave us the Financial Peace CDs and all that. We listened to them. Dave talking about gazelle mentality.
There's no looking back after that.
No
We
looking
just-
back.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to do
Just
it.
hit it hard.
So we
Yeah.
just jumped in.
So it got you fired up.
Yeah.
All right.
What did that look like for you guys? What were the things you did, the changes, the sacrifices you had to make in order to do this in 11 months?
Yeah.
They say rice and beans, beans and rice. Kind of that. I started cooking from home. We stopped going out to eat. We started focusing on like, hey, do we really need this? Not spending so much on frivolous things, and knew that if we put our heads down, we could make it work.
Stop eating out.
Yeah.
And she says rice and beans, beans and rice. That first meal, I think she forgot the rice because it was literally all beans.
We're taking it an extra
that
step.
had to
No
change.
rice.
Right.
We got to tell people you can season it too. You gotta, don't forget about spices. Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. And I was talking to you guys in the lobby yesterday, and I was just super inspired by your story. And I know, Giovanni, you made some sacrifices because you told me you like toys.
Yes.
And so that must have been hard for you to say, you know what, I'm not going to do this. At least for 11 months, we're going to go hard and get rid of this thing.
Absolutely.
What was the hardest part for you guys?
It wasn't always easy. And just saying no to a lot of things, and every other week when we got paid, we'd say, get the book, our budget book, and we'd sit down and, there were times where, I was crying and I was like, this really stinks, this is so hard. But I think the journey was...
The hard part for me, I only get paid once a month. I don't get paid weekly or bi-weekly. So every month, it was twice we sat down. I would come home, get the book. We would sit down and budgeting. That's honestly the key, and working together.
Yeah.
If you don't work together, there's no teamwork. It will not work.
Yeah. So tell me, after you guys decided to get on board, follow the baby steps, all of that, do y'all now have your money together, working as a team, communicating, all that? Sounds like it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm curious, did this impact your marriage? I mean, the money stuff aside, do you feel like, wow, we grew together as a couple because of this?
I think it's made us stronger.
Yeah. Knowing that we can do anything if we put our minds to it and just work together.
Yeah.
And one of us is struggling with staying motivated. The other one, come on, we can do this. Let's, and I think that's key.
Yeah. So it was hard. Was it worth it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. I love these stories because, yes, there's sacrifice. Yes, there's have to say no to the toys and eat rice and beans or whatever. But it's for a short term, for a short amount of time. In y'all's case, 11 months. And now that's in the rearview mirror. You're debt free. You don't have a payment in the world. Tell me how it feels to have all that weight off your shoulders.
Amazing.
Yeah. I still can't believe it's real. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
If I didn't use some of the savings that I had, because there was one point I was actually at work listening to Dave talking to a caller who called in, and she was telling Dave about her husband not wanting to use the capital, which is his savings. He pretty much told her that you using that savings is pretty much you admitting that you took that loan out to pay it off. And at that point, I called her when she was at work. I said, as soon as I get home, we're paying it off.
Look at you.
Be done.
Well done.
Be done.
Well done. It's interesting how I've noticed this in some of the calls we get on the Ramsey Show. Sometimes we do things that don't make sense financially because it's justifying something in us emotionally. It's like, oh, well, this is not my debt, or, oh, I need to hold on to this because I'm going to somehow justify this in a backwards way. It's like, no, the shortest path between here and wealth is just these very simple baby steps. And when you guys put your money together and to begin to communicate, you start to make more progress faster. Who were your biggest cheerleaders?
Definitely our families. I mean, we have the best families. They're so supportive. Friends, my cousin, EB,
my buddy,
our friend. Yeah,
Audette, he's the one that told me about Dave Ramsey, and that's never looked back after. I still listen to him while I'm at work.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's really cool. It's amazing what the power of having that community around you to champion you, support you, and not make you feel so crazy for these 11 months. But man, y'all busted it. 78,000 in 11 months. That is quick. How old are you guys?
31.
33.
Wow, and completely debt free. Congratulations, you guys. What are you going to do now that you're debt free?
Enjoy Tennessee while we're still
There
here.
you go.
Back to work.
There you go.
Yeah. Our next goal is we're trying to save to buy land and build our house.
Pay cash.
Yeah.
Wow. Well done, y'all. Y'all are amazing. Y'all are amazing. All right. We've got a copy of the Legacy Journey for you guys. That's definitely the next step in your journey. We'll give you a copy of the Total Money Makeover as well. You can give that to a friend as a gift. Hopefully get them started on their journey, and just love seeing you guys win. Way to go. All right. Here we go. It is time. It is Giovanni and Mariah from Wilmington, North Carolina, paid off $78,000 in 11 months, making $119,000. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1.
We're debt-free!
Yes. That was fast, George. 11 months.
I know. But here's what
11
happens.
months.
You want to do it faster and faster, and it becomes addicting, and that is the type of game I do like.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Very inspiring.
Yes, I love it. The greater the sacrifice, the greater the reward, the greater the gazelle intensity, the faster you get there. So yeah, it's hard. Of course it's hard for 11 months. And now you're debt-free in your early 30s, making $120,000 a year. You're never going to look back.
And they always say it was worth it.
Always.
You can always go back into debt if you want.
Always worth it. This is The Ramsey Show. me today is George Camel, and we are taking your calls about all things money, life, side business, small business. By the way, we have our Business Boutique Conference coming up in October 14th through the 16th, and there are still tickets available if you want to join us in Nashville. It's a great city to vacation to, visit, make it a girls' trip. You're going to get everything you need to start and grow your business, or you can always join us on live stream. Y'all, we've done this every single year since 2015, and it is an incredible lineup of speakers. It's always a really good time, and for many people, it becomes the catalyst that really sets your business off. We give you the tools that you need, but also the inspiration you need. You can go to RamseySolutions.com or BusinessBoutique.com to get your tickets. But if you have a question about business, side business, small business, leadership, George and I are here. We're here to answer your questions and help you out. All right, we're going to go to the phones. We've got Renee in Knoxville, Tennessee. Hey, Renee, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
All right. Well, me and my boyfriend have recently become engaged.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And we both agreed on the amount that we would spend on the honeymoon and the wedding. But as we were spending the money on the different things that we need, we're like, wow, this is a lot of money. So we were just wondering, we're trying to be responsible with it, while also at the same time, because COVID's taken so much away, we're still trying to have a good wedding. So are we being responsible with our money or not? Are we overspending on our wedding and our honeymoon?
When you said we realized, wow, that's a lot of money, you mean the amount of money you budgeted, or you mean you started actually pricing things out and the quotes you're getting are more than you expected? Which one are you referring to?
I would say it's just as we were spending the money, we were like, wow, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And because neither one of us have a fully funded emergency fund, we were like, okay, yeah, this is a lot of money. Should we just be putting it into our emergency fund? Or, we are cash flowing everything. So, yeah, it was just as we were spending it, we're like, this is a lot of money.
What's the budget? What's the number y'all came up with?
$10,000 for the wedding and the honeymoon.
Okay, cool. And do you guys have any debt?
No, we're both debt free.
Okay. You said y'all haven't got a fully funded emergency fund yet, separately or together or whatever. What's that amount between both of y'all?
Between the two of us, well, he had $6,000, I have $2,000. So together we have $8,000.
Okay, cool. And what's your income?
He makes about $2,000 a month. I bring home about $7,000.
Okay. Well, here's the thing, Renee. $10,000 is a lot of money for, a week, essentially, for your wedding and a honeymoon when you're going, oh my gosh, this is a short amount of time when you look at it through that lens. And then when you go for a wedding budget, it's actually a really conservative budget in the wedding industry. Now, we're not going to use either one of those lenses to be the only lens we look at it through. And what's interesting about money is, yes, it's a physical thing, but it's also emotional. And so even if George and I said, yeah, I think the amount of money you're spending is fine, you're cash flowing it, you do have some emergency fund going, you can continue to build that up, you're kind of setting aside this money for the wedding, and it's not unreasonable. You're not being a diva, Renee. For a wedding and a honeymoon, that's very conservative, in my opinion. But the but here is that if you're not comfortable with it, if you've got a check in your spirit, well, it's your money and it's your wedding, and you can change the budget. You can rein it back and say, hey, we feel better about 8, or we feel better about 7, or whatever. We're never going to tell you not to save money, because that's always a good idea to set you up for financial success. But I will say that in the grand scheme of things, you guys are debt free, you're smart, you've got a good income, and your budget is not unreasonable at all. I think you're fine. But it doesn't matter what I think, because if you feel checked in your spirit about it, then you're welcome to change that. George, what would you say? I mean, this is one of those. It's a very safe. It's funny.
I just did research on this because someone asked on Reddit, and I have I was on there.
Reddit. Don't get me started with Reddit.
Well, here's the thing, Christy. I thought this is a good question. They were asking, what is the right budget for a wedding? And there's no Ramsey parameter. Right. You can't Google and say, well, Dave says no more than $10,000. That doesn't exist. What he says is pay cash.
Right.
Don't let it be a huge portion of your world. And it sounds like you guys are doing this on your own. There's no family helping out here. And so again, like Christy said, do what makes you comfortable, but also realize you're not a bad person. Weddings are just expensive. The whole industry is basically a scam because they can charge whatever they want. People go, well, a venue is what a venue costs. So if you can find ways to trim, that's fine. But I want you to have a great time. I don't want you sitting there worried the whole day that you're like counting the minutes and comparing it to how much dollars that costs, going, well, it's $1,000 an hour to throw this party for everyone. So I want you to do it on your terms. And so if you're doing it for anyone else other than yourselves, that's when I would go, let's rethink this.
Yeah. And the other thing, I love how you said that, Renee. I mean, George, because Renee, we want you to enjoy it. Like, this is your wedding day. You don't want to be thinking about the dollar per hour cost. And I just want to say it again, $10,000 in the wedding industry. I want to reiterate, wedding and honeymoon. It's really conservative. It's really conservative. You guys have done well. You're not being crazy here, and you're cash flowing it. And so here's what I would say, and this is in light of George's advice. I love how he said this. You guys maybe revisit that budget, and if you're like, yeah, 10 is good, we've done our research, we can, 10 is what we want to spend, we're comfortable with it, then don't look back. Decide on 10, commit to 10, and don't think about it, and make it work within 10, but then be like, we feel good about this. We're going to be excited about this day and what we've committed to, because, George, I'll tell you, when it comes to like house projects, like improving our house, we're actually doing something right now. We're paying someone to restain our deck. It's kind of worn down. Matt and I can come up with a number we feel good about, but when it comes time to spend it, I'm still not excited to spend the money. Now, I'm excited to spend money on clothes, shoes, earrings, fun stuff, but house stuff, I'm not. And a wedding is obviously more exciting than house stuff, but sometimes when you get into those higher dollar amounts, it still can be emotionally hard to let go of that amount of money, even if you know you want the thing, like a stained deck, or even better, an awesome wedding. And so there is something to it of just committing. Be like, we're committing to this amount of money. We feel good about it, and we're not going to look back. We've got the money. We're not going to feel guilty. Money should be enjoyed, you guys. And so, yeah, Renee, I love your question. I love how conservative you and your husband are being, future husband are being, and I hope you have a great wedding. I think you're being really smart about it. Well done. All right, we're going to go to San Francisco, California with Marco. Hey, Marco, how's it going?
Hi, Christy and George.
Hey.
I'm doing good. So I had a question. So I'm a high school senior, and I've saved up $20,000 from a part-time job, and I would like to invest it for a year before I go to college. And how should I invest it to get the most money back for a year?
Great question, Marco. First of all, that's amazing that you're a senior and you've saved up $20,000.
Thank you.
You're crushing it. There's a few ways to go about this. You're looking at a really short-term time here. So I'm not going to go tell you to put it in mutual funds or, get some cryptocurrency. I want you to be conservative here because I don't want you to lose money. I'd rather you gain very little than lose half of it because, your buddy told you to invest it over here. So if I'm in your shoes, I would put it in a good money market account. You can do a high yield savings account online. I have mine in one that pays about 0.5%, maybe 0.7%. And I know it's not impressive, but the point here is not to get rich quick. The point here is for you to not lose money and just park it somewhere safe.
Yeah, the key here, Marco, is access. You want access to this money. So investing is a long-term game, and you're playing a short-term game right now. The other thing that I want to highlight for you, Marco, is you are at a very, very transitional time in your life. So high school senior, I think it's awesome that you're thinking about this. That is amazing. You're going to do so well in life, and you're going to be so smart financially, and you're going to be ahead of most of your peers because you're asking these questions. But you also don't know what changes your life, what you're going to go through in your life in the next 4 to 6 to 8 years. In that time frame, in the next decade, you're going to potentially go to college, potentially go to further education if you want to, maybe get married, maybe buy a house, maybe have kids. A lot's going to happen. All of that costs a lot of money, Marco. And so we definitely want you to invest at some point in your life. But right now, your first priority is going to college debt-free. And the best way to do that is to have that money in savings so you have access to it. And that's true for any of your savings in the next 4 years. You're going to put it in a savings account so that you have access to it. Great question. Thanks for calling.
Yeah.
I want to thank my co-host, George Camel, and producer James Child, Ben Hill, and Kelly Daniel. James is out today. I'm just reading the script here, guys.
It's Friday. It's all
Ben Hill, Kelly Daniels, and you, America, for listening. This is The Ramsey Show.
Have a friend or family member that needs a daily dose of Ramsey advice in their life? Let them know about the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast. It's a quick hit of advice about life and money in under 10 minutes. Check out the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studio. This is The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm Christy Wright. I'm joined today by my good friend George Camel, and we are taking your calls. We're answering your calls about money as always, but also life and business. Maybe you just need help making a decision. You want someone to give you a little advice. Always time management. I'm on this kick right now with my new book, Take Back Your Time, The Guilt-Free Guide to Life Balance, which is in pre-sale, and you can get your copy at RamseySolutions.com, Amazon, anywhere books are sold. But we're here for you. So give us a call, 888-825-5225, and we're going to go to Miami, Florida with Lewis. Hey, Lewis, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Good. How can George and I help?
So I heard about Dave Ramsey about a year ago, and even though I wasn't fully on board with the baby steps, and neither was my wife, I was still able to change my mentality, and I was about $40,000 in debt, and a year later we're only $15,000.
Awesome.
But right now we're still struggling. We kind of like get back into debt a little bit and come right back out. But my question right now is I'm trying to get my wife fully on board with the baby steps, but it's been difficult. Right now we have the $15,000, which is in car debt, and we have $2,500 in savings, and I don't really know where to go from here.
Okay. What's your income? Your household income?
45.
45 for the household?
Correct.
Okay. Well, talk to me a little bit about the conversations with you and your wife. How do they go? How do you talk about it? What does she say? Give us some context here to this dynamic.
So one of the things that I tell her is that, right now we don't have a mortgage. We're blessed by God. My parents gave us a house, so we don't really have to worry about that. So I tell her, we could be debt-free, in just a couple of months, maybe a year or something like that, and we can start thinking about our kids and their college fund and things like that. But she believes that if we put the money that we have towards the car loan, we won't have any security in case something happens. And that's the problem. She doesn't believe that putting the money towards the car is a good idea right now.
What do you mean security? Like she wants to put that money in savings? She wants that extra margin in your budget?
Exactly. In case, not for the budget, but just so we have it in savings.
Yeah.
She doesn't believe it's worth getting out of a car debt, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, Lewis. This is one of the most common calls that we get on the Ramsey Show. How do I get my spouse on board? And it's one of those things that's delicate in the sense that you can't bulldoze your spouse, and you shouldn't. It's just not good relationship best practices to bulldoze anybody or tell them what to do or boss them around. But you can and should have conversations that lead to you guys coming together. Now, one of the things that I think can be helpful in leading those conversations is you leaning on what you've learned from the Ramsey Show, from Total Money Makeover, from Financial Peace, anywhere that you're getting our teaching on the baby steps, because this path of the baby steps is the shortest distance between you and wealth. There are no exceptions. It's the shortest distance. That is security. So what would be helpful, I think, Lewis, is as you guys are talking about this, is helping her in a loving, respectful, patient way reframe what security is, because you're actually not secure when you're in debt. You owe money to the car company, to the car loan. And so if she thinks of security as money in the bank, well, temporarily and only if you look at that piece, but that money's not even really y'all's because you have this debt weighing you down. So for a short term, yes, just like we were talking about earlier, there is a sacrifice of you're going to, live on as low amount as you can and take all your savings except for $1,000 and put it towards that car. And you can knock that out pretty quickly, especially when you don't have a mortgage and you don't have that expense. But it's going to take you guys understanding what security means, and it's not having a car loan. At the same time, for you guys to have this vision of the future, the vision being debt-free, for her to get excited about what's possible when you're debt-free, when you have no payments, that's real security. That's where you build a real savings that makes you have that freedom of knowing if something happens, we're going to be okay. George, I know you hear this a lot because this is one of those common things that you typically have one spouse that's excited and on board, as we say, and other spouse that's more reluctant. I tend to think, I don't have any research to back this up, but I tend to think that there's a direct correlation between the spouse that won't get on board and the spender. Like I'd be willing to bet that never is the saver the one that won't get on board, right?
Yeah,
Like
that makes
it's
sense.
typically the spender's like, no. But what do you teach people when you get this question? Because this is so common. It is a very regular call we get here on the show.
Yeah. Well, for starters, you never see debt-free screams where the spouse is there and they go, yeah, I never got on board, but we made it here somehow, right? Like, so at some point you have to get on board. And here's the thing. A lot of people go around yelling at their spouse and they say, well, Dave says. No.
That doesn't go well.
Here's what it needs to change to. We said. And you know where that comes from? A why. You need to sit together and you need to talk about your why. I want you to talk about your dreams, your goals. Why the heck are you getting out of debt? And so once you do that, it doesn't become a conversation of Dave said we can't eat out. It becomes a conversation of we said this is a priority. We said that our future goals are more important than the things we have right now. So the why is where I always start. From there, I like to move to some math because math makes a lot of people angry. When you start to go, hey, how much is that payment every month?
Numbers.
What would that be?
Numbers don't lie.
Income? Yeah. How much interest are we paying? Goodness gracious. You heard Mariah in our Debt-Free Scream talk about how that got her fired up, seeing how much interest she was paying and the loan's growing. So start to do some math with them. And if the math doesn't work, what I love to do is say, hey, go sign up for Ramsey Plus. Go through Financial Peace University. And you'll hear it all over and over again. People say, what finally did it? We went through Financial Peace University and we submitted to someone else's plan. That way it's not Lewis against his spouse. It's saying, hey, now we're both fired up. We have common language that we can use to talk about money, to dream about our future. And that to me is one of the biggest things. So, Lewis, what I want to do for you is give you a 1-year membership to Ramsey Plus. You're going to have access to Financial Peace University, our 9-video lesson course that's changed so many families. You'll have access to Every Dollar Plus for budgeting. And I think those two things, going through that with your wife, she's going to get fired up. And she'll have security very soon.
Yeah, and just that's a great point. So since we're giving you that as a gift, Lewis, all the conversation now is just, will you watch this with me? That's it. You don't have to convince her. You don't have to be the bad guy. You don't have to be the dream killer. You don't have to be the security stealer. You just say, hey, will you watch this with me? This guy knows a lot about getting out of debt. He knows a lot about building wealth. This company has helped millions and millions and millions of people get out of debt and build wealth. Let's just learn from them. And then you approach it from that standpoint. And then if she's willing, which I hope she is, and she certainly should be, that's such a simple ask you're making. If she's willing to watch those videos, watch how the videos transform her, and you don't have to.
And here's what happens.
And she asks questions.
You go, we're face to face, head to head, and all of a sudden you start to do these things and you start to look in the same direction towards the future.
That's good.
Hand in hand, and then you're fired up.
Yeah, that's good. All right, Lewis, that's what you're going to do. You're going to ask her to watch the videos in Financial Peace University with you, which you get. It's our course, which you get as a part of Ramsey Plus, and watch how that sets you on the right path and brings you guys together. This is The Ramsey Show.
Still on baby step number 1, eh?
How'd you guess?
With healthcare costs rising, learn how Christian Healthcare Ministries can help you make the most out of your budget. Visit chministries.org/budget.
Don't worry, it's worth it.
Y'all, August is almost over. Here at Ramsey, we think of August as a second new year. And we've noticed that once everyone is done with the distractions of summer, vacation, playing around, going to the pool, they're ready to kick things into high gear. Maybe you're like that too right now. You still have goals that you want to reach, like saving up for Christmas, which is a lot closer now than it was in January. We know when it comes. To help you and to get you back on track, we are running deals starting at only $10 and even less in some cases. And y'all, we are running a specific deal today that you don't want to miss. Today's one-day deal is awesome, and I love it because it is around my book and my devotional. So if you order my book today, my new book, Take Back Your Time, The Guilt-Free Guide to Life Balance, you also get my devotional, an ebook version of my devotional, Living True, 40 Days to Get Back to You, for free. So you can get my new book, Take Back Your Time, The Guilt-Free Guide to Life Balance, and you get my devotional, Living True, 40 Days to Get Back to You, in an ebook version completely for free. You can check it all out online at our store at RamseySolutions.com. We're also having a lot of fun celebrating the pre-order launch of King Coleman's new book, From Paycheck to Purpose, with a $3,000 cash giveaway that's ending soon. And the giveaway ends August 31st. You got a few days left to get into this giveaway. You got nothing to lose. $3,000 you could gain. You can enter daily for extra chances to win at the Ramsey Cash Giveaway. No purchase necessary. Must be 18 or older to win. Text CASH to 33789 to enter. That's CASH to 33789 to enter. Y'all, we have a lot of exciting stuff going on. We've got 2 books that are in pre-sale, mine and Ken Coleman's. We're running sales at RamseySolutions.com. We've got a cash giveaway at RamseySolutions.com. There's a lot going on, and you guys ought to take advantage of it. Just listening to it is not going to change anything. It's when you actually take action. You know, George, I've been on this this kick lately where I don't know where people came up with the idea of it's the thought that counts. No, it's not. No, it's not. Who told you that? That is a bold-faced lie. Listen, you're not bragging to your friends about what your husband thought about getting you for your anniversary.
Ooh.
You're not posting on Facebook about the grades your child thought about getting.
This is a personal attack, Christy.
Listen, it's not the thought that counts, people. It's what you do that counts. And if you want different results, you're going to need to do something different. Go to RamseySolutions.com. Take advantage of these sales, y'all. Get them for yourself. Get them as a gift. Get some new information that will help you take different actions which lead to different results.
That's good. Is that in one of your books? That's really good. I'm going to steal that. If not, I'll at least tweet it. I'll tag you. Okay. That's so. I think you mentioned so many things. You forgot the goal planner.
I know, and the goal planner's on sale as well. That always sells out. Don't call me crying in January. It's going to be gone by then. But yes, that's at RamseySolutions.com as well. You can set your goals, plan your calendar, manage your time. We just want to help you do all the things. Manage your money, your time, your career, all of it. We're here for you.
And you can call me crying.
Yeah.
Not Christy. That's fine. I'll be your shoulder.
Post on Reddit. Tell us how you feel. George will be the only one that reads that.
I'm the only one hanging out there.
I can guarantee you that. All right, let's go to Renee in Alexandria, Virginia. Hey, Renee, how are you?
Hi, Christy. Thanks for taking my call. My husband and I are 44 and 41, and we're kind of stuck in 3B, 4, and 5 all at the same time with life happening and not really sure where to give our focus.
Okay. Well, tell me about what's going on. What are your goals and what's kind of the situation you're in?
So we have about $800,000 in retirement. We make $230,000 a year. We have about $70 in savings. We do
$70?
Not own a house. I'm sorry, $70,000.
I was like, Renee, that feels like a small amount for the numbers you're giving me. Go ahead.
Yeah, $70,000 in saving, and we don't own a house. We've lived here for 4 years, and we are not interested in buying in the area that we're in. The houses here are extremely expensive. but we still want to be saving for a house because I feel the pressure of being 44 and not having a house and knowing that I need to be on a 15-year fix at some point. So there's that. And then I only put 10% into TSP. Sorry, my husband and I work for the federal government. So I put in 10, he puts in 7. And honestly, I don't feel like I have more money to put in at this point. So I'm kind of doing step 4. And then step 5, we're cash flowing my husband's master's degree, which he will finish up this December. And we just had a son enter junior college, and he wants to cash flow his college as well. I'm not as much on board. That's a whole other story. So we're kind of in 3 steps at the same time, and I'm not really sure where to put my focus. And I feel broke all the time. I feel like I'm back in my baby step 1 days when I was, or baby step 2, paying off debt, because I'm pulling myself in so many different directions. I'm not really sure what to do.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you're not broke. Let's just start there, Renee. You have $800,000 in retirement. You're almost a millionaire. Okay. Your household income is over $200,000 a year, which is well above the national average. You're not even close to broke, not even like a little tiny bit. Do y'all have any debt?
No debt.
Okay.
No debt.
Okay. So here's one of the things that's can be difficult about the later baby steps. That's a little different than 1, 2, and 3. They do happen simultaneously. And in your case, saving for a house is kind of lumped into this latter part of the baby steps. So they do happen simultaneously. The good part of this is, unlike when you're gazelle intense getting out of debt, you do take your foot off the gas a little bit because this is a marathon, not a sprint. It's ongoing. This is going to take a much longer period of time to do these things, to pay off your home, fund college. You're investing for the long haul. These are things that are ongoing. So that's the good part. The downside is, because you really have multiple goals going on at one time, you can feel like you're not making progress in any of them just because it is maybe a slower progress divided. Right. And so one of the things that I think would be helpful for you, aside from the thing that you mentioned about, the funding your child's college, which is a different question, like you said, but I think one of the things that would be helpful is if you set micro goals, if you set smaller goals. How much do we want to have in our house fund by Christmas? How much do we want to have by March of next year, by August of next year? And start to set these smaller goals that are almost by quarter. There's several months. You start to get some mile markers here where you can see your progress in the house savings department. And then with the child's college, if you guys get on the same page, whatever you decide to do there, you can do the same thing in terms of how much. Investing is not as much of an issue. Number 1, because you have $800,000. Number 2, because you don't have a home. So we're almost kind of backtracking a little bit to get some savings to be able to buy a house in your case. But what's interesting, Renee, is research show this, psychology research shows this, that nothing is more motivating than seeing progress made. Not money, not rewards, not applause, not affirmation. It's seeing, I lost 5 pounds. That makes me want to go work out more. I saw I paid off a credit card and cut it up. That makes me want to pay off the next one. So when you begin to see your progress in saving for a home, it's going to actually motivate you to make more progress. I think you're not seeing your progress because you're not tracking it and you're not setting these smaller goals. And so that's one of the things that will help you continue to make progress in each of these areas, because they do happen simultaneously, but to actually feel like you're making progress there. George, you hop in on this one, because the baby steps 4, 5, and 6, especially when you're saving for a house, that can be a little different.
It can get tricky. So like Christy said, Renee, you're doing an amazing job. Yes. And I feel like you got a lot of stress, and I feel it in your voice. There's just a lot going on. But I want you to take a deep breath and go, we have done really well. Yes. And we've worked really hard. I mean, I don't even know how you guys have $800,000 in retirement. It's incredible at 40. So here's my thing. Yeah. If you want to feel progress, there's nothing wrong with pausing that investing right now, because you're doing so great, and then just stacking up that down payment. Focus on one thing right now. If, depending on the college situation, I want them to cash flow. I'm with your kid on that one. I want them to cash flow because I heard too many heartbreaking stories hosting the Borrowed Future podcast to hear about that. So pause it, get that house down payment saved up to focus on a goal, go back to investing and make it 15%, and then start funding the college and get that house. You're going to do great. You guys have already done great.
It's going to feel a little weird to you, Renee, because you've been investing so well for so long, to pause that. But that's the reason that baby step comes before 3 comes before 4, is because we're assuming there you're going to buy a house before you start investing, so you have that money for the down payment. You've been doing it, so it may seem counterintuitive deposit, but it's actually going to give you more money to fund the house when you find the house you want and you're ready, and then you can ramp it back up. By the way, you almost have $1 million in there. You're doing great. You're doing great. This is The Ramsey Show. George Campbell and I are taking your calls today about money, life, and business. Give us a call, 888-825-5225. We love talking to you, and we love hearing your questions. We could process it with you, give you some advice, help you think through tough decisions, or maybe you just need another perspective. We're here for you. 888-825-5225. Find out for yourself why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. You get free samples, free shipping, and with the new promo codes they run every month, you'll save even more. Use promo code Ramsey to get the best deal.
Today's question comes from Ben in Pennsylvania. Ben asks, I have enough money to buy an engagement ring, but including that amount, I would have enough money to pay off my auto loan. The only other debt I have is a student loan. Buying the ring keeps the car debt around for a few more months, but paying off the truck essentially puts off a wedding for a few months. Should I buy the ring or pay off the car loan?
Yeah.
It's a good question.
Well, the interesting thing is we're talking about a pretty short time frame here. It's a few months. My gut, you can make an argument either way, honestly. Like if you want to get your wedding going, whatever. But if I were you, since we're talking about a few months and you're not just dying to get married this minute, I'd pay off the truck. It's one less debt you're going into your marriage and engagement with, and you've got that money.
Yeah, it frees up a payment. And honestly, with how things are going right now in the world, I think putting off the wedding for a few months may be a safe bet. You just never know. So maybe that'll buy you some time. It'll help you cash flow this wedding easier. You're going to free up a payment with that truck, which means you're going to save up for that engagement ring really fast if that money's going to go towards that. And as long as, your future fiance is on board with this plan, I don't know what the conversations have been like around this, but... Yeah. Make sure it's not a huge surprise where they go, oh my gosh, I already set the date, and now this is throwing everything off. So I like the idea of paying off the truck if it's not going to slow down this wedding by a huge amount of time. Because of that freed up payment, you're actually going to gain income by paying off the truck, whereas buying the ring won't do anything for you there.
Yeah, no, I think that's the right thing to do. The other thing is, to your point, George, we don't know all the context around it, but if there have been any type of communications or expectations that something's happening in a certain time frame, definitely talk to your fiance about it. You don't want her, getting her nails done every week, thinking the ring's coming any minute, and you've pushed it back a few months, and
so
she's
stressful.
Yeah, it is so stressful. It's funny though, because when you're in that season of life, every day feels like an eternity of everything feels like such a big deal. And gosh, I look back on when Matt and I got married, I'm like, oh, we were babies. That just feels like forever ago. It's all just in the moment. It feels so urgent. And yeah, you want to get married. You guys are excited, of course. But a few months, that's one less debt you're going into your engagement with. And to your point, George, you've got that payment that you're putting towards the truck now to save even faster for the ring. So
way to go, Ben. I'm excited for you guys.
Congratulations. All right, let's go to Oklahoma City, Oklahoma with Tom. Hey, Tom, how are you?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Good. What's going on?
So I just started listening to y'all, and I bought the Money Makeover book about a month ago.
Cool.
And my wife and I are on baby step number 2. She's more the free spirit, and I'm really tight on my budget and, strict with money and everything, to where sometimes it gets or starts arguments between us. But we recently got rid of a brand new vehicle because we had 2 of them. And I put down a big chunk of change to be able to pay it off and sell it. So now we're down to 1 vehicle, and we're having a little issue now to where we think we need a second one. And because of my work schedule, I find myself needing a vehicle during the week while she's gone. And so the question is, should I trade in the vehicle and try to get 2 loans for, I guess, 2 vehicles for, I guess, around the same price or same loan amount every month for this one, or just keep this vehicle and put money down that I have in savings on a used vehicle so we have a second one.
Give us some more information. How much savings do you have? How much money do you make? And how much debt do you have?
So right now I make about $89 a year, and then that's with my work and disability. And then the debt we have is around $252,615.
What kind of debt is that?
Home and the truck.
Okay, without the house. Take the house out of it. What kind of debt do you have?
The truck is $31,530, and that's the only thing we have.
How much is it worth?
I got it appraised at a dealership for right under 31, about $30,500.
That's what they would give you for a trade-in?
Yes.
Well, you could sell it for private party more than that. And used cars are going for crazy prices right now. How much do you have in savings?
I can afford to put down about 9, but right now we have about 11,000 in savings.
11,000 in savings. Okay. George and I will tag team on this one, but we're going to tell you the same thing. And it's not to take out a loan. It's to get you 2 used cars that get you around in cash. And you've got the cash to do it. You could sell that truck private party and pay off that debt and use your savings. You could use everything but $1,000. Let's just think about this for a second, Tom. Okay, just go with me here. I know it's not what you asked, and I know it's not what you want, but just go with me anyway because you called and you're going to get the truth from us. If you were to sell that truck private party, pay off your debt, you leave $1,000 in your emergency fund and buy 2 $5,000 cars, which you can do that are good, dependable, used cars. You are not going to be in those cars very long before you can save up and pay cash to upgrade that car. You make a good income and you will be debt-free in that one decision. If you do this, you will be debt-free instantly. And then you can upgrade your car soon and not have to be having this payment dragging you around. George, am I missing something here?
Yeah, Tom, this is what I'm feeling out of this situation. Like Christy said, absolutely not. Don't get a loan. If you go to Carvana.com, Vroom.com, CarMax.com, a local dealership, just go through all of those and see what you can get for this truck. And with that money, I want you to get 2 used cars that are decent, and you could pay $10 or $15 for each of those. And with your $11K in savings and making some money out of this deal, you could be at baby step 4. You might have a fully funded emergency fund with no payments in the world other than that mortgage to tackle, and you'll be investing 15% at that point in baby step 4. And if you've got kids or if you do in the future, you can save up for college, and then we're going to look at paying off the house early. So I love this because it's an easy decision for me. Now, It might be a difficult one for Tom because I know some guys out there like their cars, and it's emotional and it's sentimental, and you go, I don't want a car that I don't like to drive. And like Christy said, this is temporary. Down the line, you can save up and pay cash for a $30,000 car if you really want it later on. But right now, you've got to clean up this mess. And what I love is that you could do it today.
That's right. We have some people call, Tom, and they have, they're at the beginning of a 3-year journey of paying off their debt. You could have this fixed this week. I mean, you're in an awesome position. It is going to require some sacrifice, a different mentality to say, okay, short term, I'm going to give up this awesome $30,000 car for a $5,000 car, and so my wife can have a car. The great news is you have this savings. So it's not even setting you back for very long because you're going to drive this car for, 6 months or a year maybe, and you're going to be able to save up, pay cash for a nicer, newer car whenever you're ready to. But the truth is the car that you have, because it's on debt, you can't afford it. If you could have afforded it, you would pay cash. So all you're going to do is just sell that and buy something in cash for the short term. And then from here on out, you're buying cars in cash, and you're going to be in such a better position whenever you do that. Then you don't have those payments, and you're moving into baby steps 4, 5, and 6, like George said, where you're investing, you're building wealth, you're paying off the house, and you're not paying all that interest that you're paying right now in this car. And so that's what we were doing. You can do what you want to. That's what we always say. You can do what you want to. That's what we would do if we were you, and that's going to be the quickest path to you getting out of debt. Stop losing money on all this interest and actually building wealth. Take your cash, buy 2 cheaper cars, sell that car that you have, get rid of that debt. You're You're going to be debt-free this week if you do it, Tom. Woo, debt-free. No payments. You can do this. I think you should. This is The Ramsey Show. George Camel and I are hosting The Ramsey Show today for you. And we love hanging out with you guys. We love taking your calls, hearing your stories, and, of course, answering your questions. Give us a call, 888-825-5225. George Camel's new podcast, The Fine Print, is out and available wherever you listen to podcasts. And, y'all, this is such a cool effort and project that our entire company has rallied behind, because George is really exposing a lot of the lies and myths that are holding you back and keeping you broke. I love the first 2 episodes. I love the titles because they are just in your face, which y'all know I love. I just love being direct. Enneagram 8. I'm like, let's just call it. Number 1, how TurboTax is screwing you. Okay, well, that's pretty clear. I love a good clear title. And number 2, the true cost of credit card rewards. Both of those are out now. Listen to them wherever you listen to podcasts. Support George, and also just get some great information that you need that's going to help you break free from stuff that's holding you back with your money, which is what we're here to help you do. Also want to remind you, my new book, Take Back Your Time, The Guilt-Free Guide to Life Balance, is available for pre-sale. And if you order your copy before pre-sale ends, and it ends in just about a week or 2, you're going to get all this free stuff. You're going to get the ebook, the audiobook, a ticket to my live event in September, which, by the way, you can join us here in Nashville in person, or you can join on live stream. You're going to get access to a private Facebook group with me where I go live and coach you between now and then. We want to give you all of the bonus items, all the free stuff to say thank you for pre-ordering, because it helps us with our marketing. We're not trying to hide anything. We just tell you it helps us. That's why we do pre-sale. Ken Coleman's new book is also on pre-sale, and that's why we do it that way, is because it helps us, and then we help you when we give you all that good free stuff. You can get all of that at RamseySolutions.com. And by the way, we're running a sale today. If you order a copy of Take Back Your Time, in addition to all that stuff I just said, you also get a free copy of my devotional, an ebook of Living True 40 Days to Get Back to You. You get all this stuff.
It's a lot of stuff.
You could give some of it away for Christmas gifts. Just get your copy, then give out all that other stuff for Christmas gifts. I'm helping you Christmas shop early. Look at that. And save on your budget because you get it free.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we're going to go to Jacob in Nashville, my hometown of Nashville, Tennessee, where we are. Hey, Jacob, how are you?
Good. How are you all?
Good. What's going on?
Well, first, thank you so much for taking my call.
Yeah.
So, in about 8 days, I'm getting married.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. We're very excited. She has been awesome. She's got a great job. She's paid off all of her debt. She actually just paid off her car. She's got at least 3 months of expenses saved up. I tend to be on the other end of the spectrum. I just graduated from PA school, got a job, but with that came about $180,000 worth of student debt. And so combined, we'll be making a pretty great income. We'll be bringing home about $200,000 a year. And so we'd be able to pay on my debt pretty quickly, and we both want to do that. But I also wanted to call and say, because I've been looking at the baby steps, and given that we will be making so much money, and my minimum payment's only $2,100 a month, which we're going to pay more than
only.
That's more than my mortgage, man.
I just a small $2,100. Go on, Jacob. I'm with you.
Well, yeah, I didn't mean to say it like that, but yeah, we were thinking, taking the extra income that we'll have on top of already paying over on my student debt, and jumping to one of the later baby steps and saving 15% or going ahead and making sure that we do have our 3 months expenses, saved and doing that. And I just wanted
to know. That's the very short answer.
Your opinion was?
Yes. So the short answer is no. That's the very short answer to that. The reason is, Jacob, for over 30 years and millions of people, the baby steps are in that order for a reason. And it's because it's the shortest path between you and wealth. When you have debt, any type of debt, any interest rate, any time frame for your payments, it doesn't matter. I don't care what the fine print is on your debt. It's always a risk. It's always stealing your income and stealing your future. So our number one goal is to get it out of here. Our number one goal is to get rid of any type of debt at any amount at any interest rate. So should you fast forward and skip baby steps? No, never. Not ever in any situation. What we want to do is you're going to be making $200,000 a year. You've got 180 something thousand in debt?
180, yeah.
Okay. I want you to live on nothing for that first year or two. And you can get this knocked out really quickly. And then you can save up your emergency fund, and then you can invest, and you can do so with unbelievable momentum and progress and margin and control and no risk and no worries and no payments. And that's the way that we want you to do it. And I don't want you to feel bad about getting married and bringing all this debt in, because with that debt, you're going to work as a team and get it paid off. You're going to have a great income. Both of you are going to have great incomes. And in 8 days, you are becoming one, which means your bank accounts are becoming one. Your goals are becoming one. And so I know sometimes it can be hard for the person coming into marriage that has the debt to feel like, oh my gosh, well, I just need to pay this off on my own. There's this temptation of like, I don't want to drag you down. You're going to drag you both down if y'all don't work as a team. You got to combine y'all's income, y'all's goals, y'all's effort, y'all's focus to get this knocked out. And when you do, y'all will both make progress faster. You will make so much more progress than if you try to do this separately, individually, any kind of sneaky skip and baby steps leapfrog. We don't do that. This is because this order works, and we want to get that out of here as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. In 30 years of doing the show, I don't think I've ever heard Dave say you get to leapfrog the baby steps. And Jacob, I'm sure you are uniquely created by God. You're special, but you're not special when it comes to the baby steps.
You're not that special, Jacob.
Christy gave you the why and the heart behind it. Let me give you the how and the what and the tactical here.
Yep.
You don't make $200,000. Starting today, you make $50,000, and after taxes, my guess is you guys bring home $150,000, right? So you're going to put $100,000 towards this debt, and this thing's going to be gone in under 2 years. And if you have any savings, we're throwing that on there, except for $1,000 for that starter emergency fund. And here's what's going to happen: you're going to start to believe that you can get rid of $180,000 in under 2 years. And you know how I know it can happen? Because you have an amazing income and you have an amazing wife who's going to be on board, who's going to get fired up with this about you, with you. And then, guess what? In less than 2 years, you guys have a giant pile of money to throw at the emergency fund, and you'll be investing in no time.
Jacob, stay on the line. I want Kelly to give you and your fiance membership to Ramsey Plus. This is our proven course. We also have our budgeting app inside there, Financial Peace University's inside Ramsey Plus. We've got all this content and teaching. And what's going to be cool is in the next 2 years, which is a marathon for you, while you're tackling this debt together, it's going to keep you inspired. It's not just going to give you the tools to do it, which you'll have that, which is great. It's also going to keep you motivated and inspired. That'll give you some of the language to talk about when y'all have your budget meetings, and to, even as a newlywed couple, just to get on the same page with your finances, whatever your finances are. It gives you something to talk about. It gives you some language around it. It's going to give you that motivation. So stay on the line. We'll give you that as a wedding gift, and congratulations. Listen, if you do this, if you do it like George and I are telling you, if you knock it out, if you live like you're living on $50,000, if you live on hardly anything, you've got so much margin to put to that, and then you are going to have so much money when it's gone. If you let it hang around, you will not have so much money. You will make a really good income and continue to feel broke. And you're not broke. You're just choosing to let that stick around, and we don't want that to happen. And so knock it out. You can do it. And then give us a call in less than 2 years when you're debt-free, and you do that debt-free scream, and George and I will be celebrating you. George, when Matt and I got married. I did not have any debt. I paid off my last final debt, my car payment, right before he proposed, the week before he proposed. I didn't know he was proposing that week. It was just great timing. But I didn't bring any savings into our marriage, and he had savings. And I remember feeling a sense of guilt because we had to pay for our wedding and some stuff by ourselves. And so there was I didn't have the debt I was bringing, but I had the lack of savings. And sometimes when there's an inequality, you can feel like the bad guy. You're not the bad guy. You made bad decisions. You're a different person. You're doing things differently. And Matt, of course, was filled with grace. But man, when you bring your money together and you work as a team, it changes everything.
Everything.
Changes.
That's such a good call out.
Everything. All right. I want to thank producer Ben Hill and associate producer Kelly Daniel and my co-host George Camel and you, America, for hanging out with us. This is The Ramsey Show.
It's Kelly, associate producer for The Ramsey Show. This episode is over, but if you heard about an event, product, or service and didn't have a chance to write it down, don't worry. We list everything you've heard about during this episode in the podcast show notes section or head to theramseyshow.com. Thanks for listening.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studio, this is The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm Christy Wright, and I am joined today by my good friend George Camel. We are taking your calls. 888-825-5225 if you have a question about money. We are here for you. If you have a question about life, maybe a relationship question, a tough decision you've got to make, a career question, a side business, small business question. Y'all know before I was talking about time management and life balance, I was talking about business. Still talking about business. We have our Business Boutique Conference coming up in October, but I love to help you. So maybe you have an idea and you're not sure if it could be a business, or you have a business and you're feeling burned out, or you're not sure how to monetize your idea. Give us a call, 888-825-5225. George's new podcast called The Fine Print is out. Wherever you listen to podcasts, he is exposing the lies, the myths that are keeping you broke and stuck. He is helping you know what you need to know to be set free from that. And I'm loving the titles of these podcasts. They are sassy, they are direct. He is just taking on some of these industries that are keeping you down, and you need to listen to it. So The Fine Print is available wherever you listen to podcasts. And most of you guys know, but the new book from me, Take Back Your Time, The Guilt-Free Guide to Life Balance, is available on pre-sale. By the way, the Goal Planner is out as well. So we just launched that last week. We're not really talking about it that much yet, but it did sell out early last year.
It always does.
It sold out particularly early last year, George, and people were messaging me mid-December.
People get angry.
Is there any way? Can you find one? Is there one hidden?
I might buy them and resell them on eBay for $1,000.
I think you could.
That might be the move.
People are like, can I have the one that's in the back of your bookshelves at your Facebook Live from home? I'm like, that's up. No, you can't.
Well, there's a reason, Christy. It's not just a normal goal planner. It's not just a calendar. You put so much content and thoughtful effort into this goal planner, and that is why people love it.
Well, thank you, and you're right. You know, one of the interesting things. So I'll give you guys a little family talk here, a little behind the scenes, pull the curtain back on Ramsey Solutions. I like to share with you guys not just why we do what we do, but even how we do what we do, kind of behind the scenes that y'all may not see. So when we were first having discussions, I guess 5 years ago, about a planner, I knew that there was a whole group of people that really use planners. We were big goal-oriented people here. We teach people to have goals. And I was like, there's such a connection there between the market that needs a planner to help them with goals, and we love goals. We teach goals. We've got to do this. But to be honest, many people don't use just a paper planner. They use their phone, they use their apps, their calendars, their digital calendars, and that makes perfect sense. I get that. So I thought, well, what do I use? Well, I read books for personal development and growth and leadership. I do Bible studies that will have journal questions for reflection. I use tools and templates for things, whether it's for my, social media for work or for, even goals, goal trackers and that type of thing. And so I was like, and then I used a calendar. So I was like, how can I combine all this? So literally we took all of those pieces and put them in this. So every month has teaching. That's the book piece of it. Teaching on a different aspect of your life, from your, the power of your mind to your relationships, your resources, your money, and so on. All the way to, you've got the actual journal questions to help you put that into practice. You've got tools and templates to help you live it out. And then of course you have your monthly and weekly calendar. You even have a month in review where we're going to review how this month went before you set goals for the next month. So this is a great tool to help you actually stick with your goals next year. We launch it in August to give you plenty of time to buy it, get your copy before the year is up, to get ready for next year, get it for Christmas, get it for a gift. And then also it's one of those things that because it does sell out, you want to get it early, and we want to give you time to do this. So you can get the 2022 Goal Planner from me at RamseySolutions.com/store. Get your copy early because they do sell out every single time. All right, let's go to Kendra in Nashville, Tennessee. Hey, Kendra, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
First of all, thank you for taking my call. And I'm going to try and explain this the best way that I know how. My husband just recently left me for another woman, so I lost his income. But I've decided to get on Dave Ramsey's bandwagon here and contacted all of my creditors. A few years ago, we had bought a lemon of a car and voluntarily surrendered it. The original cost of it was just over $7,000, but they're willing to forgive it for a little over $2,000. But they're only accepting payments for 3 months. So do I go ahead and try to knock this out now, or do I need to treat it as a debt snowball, or what should I do? I don't know what to do.
Kendra, I'm so sorry that happened.
Thank you.
I hear your question about money. I'm so sorry that happened. I can't imagine the heartbreak, the betrayal. I'm so sorry. You didn't deserve that. Nobody deserves that.
Thank you.
I want you to know that you're strong. I want you to know that you're going to get through this, even though it doesn't feel like it. It will not hurt this bad forever. You will get through this. You will be stronger. You will. And you are worthy of love. And this is not a reflection on you at all. This is a statement of him and who he is and his character, not you. And I want to start there. Okay?
Thank you.
I want you to get that in your head and your heart. I want you to write it down. I want you to be listening to podcasts. I want you to be reading scripture. I want you to get in a church. I want you to be around amazing friends. I want people to love you and grab you by the shoulders and look you in the eyes and tell you that again and again and again, as many times as you need it, as you get through this, okay? That's number one. Okay?
Okay.
Second of all, yes, get rid of it. Pay it off as quick as you can. Get those people, get that car, get the paperwork, get the headache, get the risk. Get it out of here. Get the memory of that. You get it out of there. And then from there, you organize your debts, smallest to largest, just like we teach. But yes, you get it out of there. But the number one thing that is important to Kendra right now is taking care of Kendra. The number one thing. You're not going to be able to manage your money. You're not going to be able to make good financial decisions. You're not going to be able to do anything unless you take care of Kendra. So we're going to take care of Kendra. I want you to stay on the line, and I'm going to have Kelly give you a membership to Ramsey Plus. That is our platform where we have all of our teaching, all of our tools, all of our content, everything that helps you walk out these baby steps, that's going to love you, encourage you, and give you the tactical teaching you need to do the baby steps as you walk this out. But even as you do this, I want you to remember what I said. The first thing you need to do is take care of you. You need to get around people that love you, that are going to speak truth to you and remind you of just how valuable you are, how worthy of love that you are, that this is not about you. This was about him. And you're going to get through this. This is The Ramsey Show.
Stop paying your overpriced wireless provider and switch to Pure Talk. They use the same network as the larger providers for much less. For just $30 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data with no contract. The average family saves over $70 a month by switching to Pure Talk. Just go to puretalk.com and enter the promo code Ramsey to save 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, simply smarter wireless.
When you're struggling with money, it's easy to tell yourself that you'll deal with it later or you'll start fresh in the new year. But then later rolls around and you still feel out of control. Don't wait around and wish you would have started earlier. Decide right now that this is the last month you will ever worry about money again. If you do, if you're ready, we're here to help. That's why for this month only, we're knocking $30 off a 12-month membership to our most impactful, life-changing money classes and products. With the Ramsey Plus membership, you'll get access to Financial Peace University, our step-by-step plan to save money, pay off debt, and build wealth. Plus, you get the premium version of our Every Dollar budgeting tool to help you put that plan into action and take control of your money. You deserve a life free of monthly payments and constant money stress. Start your free trial of Ramsey Plus today by texting TRIAL to 33789. That's TRIAL to 33789. You guys have heard us multiple times today, George and myself, giving away a year membership to Ramsey Plus, and there's a reason for that. It's because it is what will help you get control of your money. It's not just a random coincidence that we're talking about it, that when people call in and they have a question and they're confused or they're lost or they're stuck or they're hurting, we go, hey, you know what? Stay on the line. We're going to give you a gift of Ramsey Plus. It's because it is the class, the budgeting tool, the app that is going to get you out of the mess that you feel like you're in with your money and help you break free and build wealth. That's why we talk about it. That's why we want you to get it, because it will help you build wealth and get out of debt. That's TRIAL to 33789. Text TRIAL to 33789. You can start a free trial. Try it out. No risk. You don't have to pay anything if you change your mind, but give it a try. All right, we're going to go to Jerry in Atlanta. Hey, Jerry, how are you?
I'm doing quite well. Thank you very much. I hope the two of you are doing well as well.
Yeah, what's going on?
My question relates, we're at baby step 4, 5, and 6, and both are in our close to retirement age. I'm 65. My wife is 60. And we've done quite well, staying debt-free. We've got our retirement set up. We have an opportunity to move back to where we actually came to Atlanta from. And looking at that, I'm seeing that we would make enough from the proceeds of our home to be able to pay cash for a home in the state we want to move to. The challenge that comes into play there is probably a doing the right thing at the right time moment, because in order to do that, we will be putting about 850 miles between us and our two grandsons that live here in the Atlanta area. They're 35 miles away. We would then be about 850 miles away from them. However, there is the opportunity for us to take what we would have been paying for a house payment and just sock that away and make that be part of kind of a fund that we could use to, bring them to us and have them stay for lengths of time, or us travel back here for lots of time. So it's kind of a dilemma for us, because it's kind of a challenge. We have family and friends back in the other state as well, but this one is kind of a tough decision, and I just kind of wondered where that balance might sit for you.
That is hard, Jerry. What are the ages of your grandkids?
6 and 4.
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you a question, and it may not be a clear answer, but it's just a good exercise, even if it's something you have to think about after we get off the phone. So when decisions are hard, and they often are, in my book, Take Back Your Time, I actually give 8 different questions to ask yourself when you're faced with a tough decision. And you don't have to ask all 8 of them. That would be super overwhelming. But they're examples of things that can help you as you wrestle through decisions. One of the questions that I want to ask you, this is an example from my book, but I want to ask you in light of this situation. Which will you regret? Now, the reason I ask it that way is because sometimes it brings a different level of clarity when you fast forward and project out into the future and imagine your life in this scenario. We've stayed in Atlanta. We're, paying more for a house, and we're with our grandkids as they grow up. Or project out the other scenario. We've paid cash for a house. We're with some friends, but our grandkids are far away. Sometimes when you project out in the future and you look back on the decision through the lens of which one would I regret, it brings a different level of clarity. So I want you to think about that, Jerry. Is there one that comes to mind or rises to the surface when you look at it through that lens?
Yeah, and I think we've thought about that numerous times as we've been wrestled with the decision. And of course, the tug to have the boys just because they're just so incredibly adorable.
Of course they are.
But then I still have probably 5 good years in me before I will need to can retire, and then get the freedom of being able to travel back and forth. But I may be looking at this more of an economic decision as opposed to a personal decision. So the regret part of it probably hasn't come into our thought process yet. But that's a great question.
Well, it's something you can think about, and I'll tell you, there are some calls on this show where it is like, yes, you absolutely should do this. This is a strictly financial, this is right, this is wrong. This is one of those where it's more of a values decision. We're not going to be mad at you if you decide to stay in Atlanta and pay more because you want to be close to your grandkids, and we're not going to be mad if you decide to move. This is your life, Jerry, and ultimately comes down to you and your wife's decision. I will tell you what I hear. As the mother of 3 kids, age 6, 4, and 1. My mother-in-law and father-in-law are actually stopping by the show here in a little bit today, and they live in Florence, Alabama, which is 2 hours from Nashville, where we live. They see them about once a month, definitely sometimes more frequently than that, but at the least once a month, once every 3 weeks. And every time they see them, they say, "Oh, they've grown up. Oh my gosh, they've changed so much.
Oh, I understand.
Oh my
Yep,
gosh,
I
so much has
understand.
happened in 3 weeks." And so I hear that. So I can't separate myself from that totally when I advise you, Jerry, because to me, family's everything. That's my personal values. Family's everything. There's no amount of money in the world that would make me want to be away from my mom, from my in-laws, from my dad. But that's me. Everyone doesn't have those same family ties. Everyone doesn't have that same family pull. But you can think about it. You can think about which one you will regret, because ultimately, I want to advise you in the direction of no regrets. And I will encourage one other alternative here. Sometimes we tend to think of things as these extremes, like I've got this extreme option or this extreme option. I just want to challenge you. Is there an option in between? Is there an option in Atlanta where you could downsize in your house or find something more on the outskirts of town or something that's a little bit cheaper that helps you make progress on your financial goals if you want to pay a little less, but you're still close to your family? So I want to throw that out there as an option as well. George, you hop in here.
Yeah. Here's my take. My family is in Boston, Massachusetts. My wife's family, they're moving to Florida, and we don't have kids yet. And we're going, man, when we have kids, it's going to be kind of sad to not have the grandparents so close by.
Yeah.
So if I'm you guys, I'm like, hey, they're going to be this age for a little while. In 10 years, they're going to be in high school and going to college, and they'll kind of be doing their own thing. So to me, I'm like, can you hang out in that area for maybe another 10 years as they grow up, and you get to be with them way more frequently? And then once you guys are, in maybe 70, 75, you can go retire back to your hometown and retire there and have a great life, and you can pay for those trips.
Yeah, one of the things that that my mother-in-law said to me, Jerry, in relation to my kids, she said, there's a very short time frame when they want to go to Mimi and Pop's. My son's today at school. Mimi and Pop went and picked them up from school, and Carter is in first grade, and Conley's in pre-K 5, and they are so excited they can't see street because they get to go to Mimi and Pop's today, and Mimi and Pop are picking them up from school. Like, today is basically the greatest day in the world because Mimi and Pop are picking them up from school. And my mother-in-law very wisely pointed out to me, she said, there's only a short frame of time where they feel like that. When they're 17, they're not going, Mimi and Pop's. They're probably not wanting to go to Mimi and
Grandpa,
Pop's.
what's
If we're
up?
honest, they won't like us either when they're 17. So we We all know that time is coming. But in this season, Jerry, I think that might be something to consider, because this is a really special time. And to your point, you've got 5 more years, before you retire anyway. It's not that you can't move back out there. They just walked in. My little ones just walked in. It's not that you can't. I know. I was just talking about them. It's not that you can't move out there, but maybe just put it off, like George said, so you get to cherish these sacred years when they're little. They're only little once. But you got this. Thanks for calling, Jerry. This is The Ramsey Show. Homeschool parents, we get it. Preparing your teen for the real world can feel scary, especially when it comes to teaching them complicated money topics like compound interest, taxes, and insurance. But you can do it. And our homeschool curriculum can help. Foundations in Personal Finance has helped over 5 million students learn the money lessons they need to thrive now and in the future. How incredible is that? And the best part, gone are the late nights of lesson planning. This curriculum already has activities, videos, lesson plans, and assessments already done for you. Video content and activities already created. Parents, text homeschool to 33789 to learn more about our life-changing personal finance curriculum for middle and high school students. I'm Christy Wright, and joining me today is my good friend George Camel. We are here for you. Give us a call, 888-825-5225. If you've got a question about money, time management, business, leadership, whatever you need, we are here for you. It's 888-825-5225. And we're going to go to Scottsdale, Arizona with Alexis. Hey, Alexis, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
Good. So I just had a question. I'm 20 and I have $56,000 in the bank account, which is growing every day. However, I have absolutely no idea what to do with this money as it's in the account, but it's not making any interest.
Well, what a great problem to have. I've got $56,000. I don't know what to do. Christy and George, help me. Okay.
Where did this come from? I'm just curious.
Let's start there.
So I actually own a furniture company where I buy thrifted furniture and I flip it on Instagram.
Cool. I love this, Alexis.
This is right up your alley.
How long have you been doing it?
I've been doing it for about 3 months now.
Whoa. Alexis, you've been doing this 3 months and you've made $56,000 off of this?
So the $56,000 isn't just from that. Previous to owning the furniture business, I've also owned a few other businesses, but I had stopped doing that within the last 3 months.
Okay.
And so now it's just the furniture business that I'm doing.
Super cool. Okay. Do you have any debt?
I only have my car debt.
How much is that?
Right now I have it leased, and my grandparents pay half of it, so my monthly payment is $200 a month, and that's the only debt I have.
What is the car worth?
Ooh, I want to say $53,000.
The car?
I just got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other debt?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. George, I'm going to let you take the debt part of this, and then we'll talk about the emergency fund and kind of going from there.
Yeah, so what is your income?
So my income is around maybe it ranges from $8,000 to $10,000 a month.
Awesome. You're rocking it, Alexis.
20 years
income.
old.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good things happening here.
Yeah.
So here's what I want you to do. I want to get this debt out of your life because you have too many good things to let this be holding you back. I don't like leases. It is one of the most expensive ways to operate a vehicle. And with your income and your hustle, you can go pay cash for a car and then get
your savings.
And your savings. So talking about the savings, there's a lot we can do with that. If you said you're new to the plan here?
Yeah, so I've never done any plans before.
Well, you've done really well for no plans.
I know, that's amazing.
Let's start with that, Alexis.
So we teach the 7 baby steps here at Ramsey Solutions, and we've taken calls during this show where people want to leapfrog, they want to do it their own way, and that's fine, but you're not going to get the results that you want doing that. And so here's what I want you to do. We start with a baby step 1 starter emergency fund of $1,000. So everything but that, we're going to go and pay off the debt with that in baby step 2. So we're going to pay off all of our debts from smallest to largest. You just have the car from what you told me. And so you're going to want to get the full buyout amount from the dealership or wherever you're leasing it from, and you could pay that in full and get rid of this thing today. So I do like that. That's great news.
Got it.
And then with the money left over, you can get a good used car for now. I mean, you're going to be in a really good spot soon. Once you pay off that car and you get a fully funded emergency fund in baby step 3, that's going to be 3 to 6 months of expenses. So that's not 3 to 6 months of income. That's 3 to 6 months of expenses. And once you do that, I want you to start investing 15% of your income into retirement. You're 20 years old, so you've got a good 40, 50 years to invest. You're going to be a multimillionaire without question. So I want you to know that you're in a great spot. But I do want you to get rid of that lease as soon as possible so that all of this amazing income coming from this business can help you get through the baby steps and help you accomplish your goals.
The other thing, Alexis, and I'm not against nice cars at all, but you don't need a car that expensive on your income. You don't. That's way too much car for your income. You're doing well, but that's just too much car. That's just crazy too much car. So we're going to get rid of that, get something more reasonable. You can pay for it in cash. You'll get your emergency fund going. Stay on the line. We will give you the Total Money Makeover, which is basically, this is a quick read, Alexis. Like, I read it in 2 hours, but it walks you through our baby steps in detail, and it's going to really dive into baby step 1, why you need $1,000 set aside, baby step 2, why we don't want debt, baby step 3, why we need 3 to 6 months of expenses, and it even talks about why leasing a car is the most expensive way to own a car, just so you really get that in your head and your heart of why we're telling you to do this. And you're going to go about this a different way with having a car you pay for in cash that is a smaller percentage of your annual income than what you've got right now. You've really done fantastic. And as a matter of fact, in addition to Total Money Makeover, you are a businesswoman. And so I'll have Kelly give you a ticket to our Business Boutique Conference. It's coming up October 14th through the 16th. You can join us here in Nashville, Alexis, if you want to. If not, you can join us on live stream, and that will just give you even more motivation to build this business. You have done so well with no plan. I'm kind of amazed at how well you've done with no plan. But you need a plan for your money, and you need to plan for your business. And when you have that, you are going to be unstoppable, woman. Like, you're going to be unstoppable when you start having some intentionality, some focus, some boundaries around what your goals are and what you're trying to do. You're gonna be incredible. You know, one of the things I think that is hard, George, is sometimes what makes us successful, being scrappy, flying by the seat of our pants, can be the actual thing that holds us back to get to the next level. And that's true in money. It's definitely true in business. I see this so much with women that I work with in business, where they are super scrappy when they start out, but then they just stay scrappy and at a point where they cannot grow and scale because they aren't willing to get a little more sophisticated. They're not willing to get systems and processes and procedures and plans and all that in place that you need to grow, that you need to scale. And I think that that's one of the things I love about the baby steps is it is so simple, tactical, and straightforward of you do this first, you do this second, you do this third, and so on. And I know you teach people, you're so great at breaking things down to very actionable steps, because the truth is, when you can see it, you can do it. When you have a plan and you know the steps, you can follow them.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be complicated. And I think with all the voices out there, people kind of it starts to get muddy, and you go, I don't know what to do, so I'm just kind of do my own thing without really much of a plan. And Alexis has done really well without that, but once she has this plan, I'm scared. Yeah. I mean, nothing's going to stop her. 20 years old, she's crushing it in business, and I hope she can at least attend the Business Boutique live stream, because I'm a huge fan of Business Boutique. I've been to many of these events. expense.
Back in the day, you marketed this event. People don't know that.
No, I was on the Business Boutique team, and I was a card-carrying member. And let me tell you, the estrogen in that room, I got fired up. I was like, maybe I need to start a business. I don't know, Christy. I'm starting to have thoughts. So I just love this event, and I love how you are empowering so many women to take control, not only of their money, but of their business and entrepreneurial life, and giving them that amazing steps, that forward-thinking purpose to go, you know what? What got me here is not going to get me there.
Well, I don't care who you are, and I don't care how successful you are in business by making it up as you go. Everyone will be more successful if they have a plan. Everyone will make more progress financially if you have a budget. Everyone will make more progress in any area of your life, whether it's your marriage, with your parenting, with your business, your money, it doesn't matter. You're going to go further faster when you have a plan. Zig Ziglar says, if you aim for nothing, you will hit it every time. We want you to aim for something. We want you to know what your finish line is so that you can cross it. This is The Ramsey Show. Our scripture of the day is Ecclesiastes 3:1 and 2. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, no change of circumstances can repair a defect of character. Well, that's the truth. You know, I love Ecclesiastes, George. I actually talk about this in my book because I think that we don't talk about seasons enough, the seasons of life, and how the season that we're in will often determine what's important to us, what matters to us. So what we spend our time on will look different in one season versus another. What our version of life balance will look different in one season versus another. For some of you all that are in baby step 2 right now, you're gazelle intense, you're hustling, you're sacrificing beans and rice and beans. That's right now. I just want to say that again. That's right now. When you do the right things at the right time, you will feel that sense of balance that you've been looking for. But it's not because you're doing everything all the time. It's because you're doing the right things and giving yourself permission to focus on them when they're right. And then when you're in baby step 3 or baby step 7, what's right looks a lot different, and that is a good thing. So I actually talk about that in my book, Take Back Your Time. Doing the right things at the right time will lead to that sense of balance you've been looking for, and it's just the heart of that comes from Ecclesiastes. There's a time for everything.
It's so freeing when you realize that, because you realize this isn't forever. This is a right now, and this thing doesn't define me.
Yes.
This season that I'm in, this isn't going to be my new life. And it kind of makes you go, I don't need to have that FOMO anymore, because right now this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yes.
And next week I might be doing this over here. And you're in that season now with this new book.
Yes. And it's so interesting too, because we were just telling you guys earlier, if you buy a copy of Take Back Your Time today, you get a copy of my devotional free, an e-copy of my devotional. But I talk about this idea of seasons in the devotional. And one of the things that I've noticed in my life, George, is if I'm not careful, I can look around me to the season that I'm in and draw conclusions about my identity based on my season. So let me give you an example. My house isn't always as clean as I would like it to be. I have 3 kids under age 6. Like, no matter how much I clean, they're faster and messing up. But if I'm not careful, I'll look around me and I go, oh, my house is a mess. I'm a mess. No. I have little kids that make a mess. Nothing personal. Carter and Conley, who are in the lobby right now. I am not a mess. I have little kids that make a mess. I am not a mess. And so there's something powerful in separating yourself from your season, but we do need to consider it because it's going to affect what our version of balance looks like. It's going to affect what we need to and want to spend our time on. And that changes our perspective when we set our priorities when we consider our season. So it's a great verse. I love Ecclesiastes 3. All right, let's go to Seattle, Washington with Nancy. Hey, Nancy, how are you?
Oh, I'm all right. I wish
Ken Coleman was there too, and you guys were a threesome.
I'm going to tell him that because Ken Coleman was with me last week, and someone called, Nancy, Elmer called, and he said, I wish it was Dave. And I was like, man, we don't have the right people on the right days.
Never the right day.
Ken's going to be so happy that he was wanted, though, Nancy. I'm going to tell him.
Yeah, no, but I'm glad that the both of you are there. But I feel like I have lost my mojo at work, and I'm like about 308 days until I retire, and it's just kind of like the last couple of years has just been really bad with work in terms of the pandemic. We've had lots of staff ill. We've had a lot of patients ill. We've had short staffing. We've had to change on a dime notice to do things differently. I'm just burned out, and it's just kind of like all I can think about is I want to get out of here.
Yeah. What do you do?
I work with psychiatric patients.
Okay.
And so it's really a tough clientele to work with, and it's inpatient setting, and it's just been really, 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 really tough. And it's just kind of like, and I'm always worked. I've loved the work my whole career. I've been doing it for a long time, and I've always really been able to tend to detail with work in terms of all the, charting and assessments and anything and everything, all the details. I've always been, on top of everything, and I just kind of like, I don't care 2 cents right at this. There's times when I don't care 2 cents about it. So it's just kind of like, I feel like I'm putting my time in.
Yeah. Well, I hear that. I hear it in your voice, and it's clear from your perspective of your experience with this. But let me ask you this: are you going to stay with it until you retire?
Well, I could quit and have no income until I'm old. I have to be 62 to draw retirement, or I could work until I'm 62 and then get my pension, or I could go and get another job elsewhere. I mean, believe me, I've thought about it, and in fact, I've been hit about 14 months ago. I got headhunted by another facility in the region, and I got a interview set up, and they found me on LinkedIn, and I got this close to going through with it and decided, you know what? I transferred to this other facility, this other system. I go from being top of the heap in terms of seniority to bottom of the heap, and this was still deep in the throes of the pandemic, and we got hit. Our state got hit really bad with COVID in the March through midsummer-ish with that big wave last year, and I figured, you know what, I transferred facilities in June, and I could, be the first one cut if that new place, hired me. So I pulled myself out of the job interview.
Yeah.
And I didn't go through with it because I figured, I'm going to stay where I'm at, and I'm higher in seniority at the place where I'm working, and so I've thought about that. I thought you might suggest that.
Well, no. The reason I wanted to ask is because if you've made up your mind to leave, then that's different than if you've made up your mind to stay and you're just asking how to stay motivated while staying. Basically, I've kind of the decision I've come at is I'm going to stay until I'm 62 and then exit stage left afterwards. So it's just basically getting myself to that end point in 308 days. Yeah. Okay. So Nancy, that's the reason I wanted to boil it down to that of like, you've determined to stay, because I did hear that. As unhappy as you are, as burned out as you are, as over it as you are, as counting the days as you are, you're actually committed to stay. And I agree with that. you're so close to retirement. If you had 5 years left, this would be a different conversation. You're so close. It is, I think it's wise to stay. The financial aspect of it, but even the security aspect you're talking about. Here's the thing that I want to help you with, because this is really your question. Your question is not a career question. Your question is not even a financial question. It's really a motivation question. So if you've decided to stay, then you have a choice. You can stay and allow yourself to be miserable, or you can stay and make the best of it. And as cheesy as this may sound, you've got to commit to make the best of it, because if not, then you've decided to stay and have chosen to be miserable because you're playing the victim in a choice you made. You decided to stay. So if I were you and I was going to decide to stay, I would just make the absolute best of it. That means thinking about everything you're grateful for, thinking about everything that you love about it, think about everything that's positive, making sure you're getting filled up by podcasts, teachers, things that bring you joy, things that give you energy outside, whether that's a pastor, a scripture, a church. If you'll stay on the line, I'll have Kelly send you a copy of my devotional to just encourage you in this season. Just like we were just saying, George, your season is where you are, not who you are. You're in a tough season, but it doesn't mean that you're a failure, you're ending this on a bad note, you're burnout. No, you're just in a tough season, and you're going to make the best of it while you're there. And Nancy, I believe if you do everything you can to fill yourself up while you're there, the less you can talk about how bad it is and the more you can focus on how good it is, it will actually change your experience of it. It's not cheesy, it's psychology, and it works. Act the way you want to feel, and the feelings will follow. Watch how that makes a difference. I hope that helps. George, great job today. Thanks for hanging out. I want to thank our producer, Ben Hill, associate producer, Kelly Daniel, and you, America, for listening in. This is The Ramsey Show.
This is James Childs, producer of The Ramsey Show. You can listen to all our shows with the Ramsey Network app on your smartphone. Browse by topic or even sync clips to your friends. Download the Ramsey Network app in your favorite app store today.